Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's book review is on The Grace Year that came out in 2019, so I'm a year behind, but I was recommended this book by a few people because they know from my tastes, because they're friends with me on Goodreads and Twitter, that I like dark stuff, I like gritty stuff, I like depressing stuff, I like violent stuff. I want to read all of that, and it's very hard to offend me in anything involving books or art, films, whatever, you know, you can go on. It's just really hard. So I had one person say, I usually don't recommend The Grace Year because it's so depressing. But it's for you. Thanks. I take that as a compliment. So I picked it up. I actually got it for 20% off, and that's why you see that little extra residue from the 20% off Target sticker that I tried to take off for 10 minutes prior to this video, and yeah, it obviously didn't work and I don't know how to get rid of it. So I'm slightly annoyed at Target for putting that sticker on the front cover, but we're gonna move on. So this book is 5 out of 5 stars. I'm gonna say that up front. I'm not even gonna wait until the end of the book. 5 out of 5 stars. I couldn't find anything wrong with it. I think it's one of the best books that I've read this year, and that's saying something, because I've actually read a lot of good books this year. I think this is probably the highest 5-star books that I've given in a year, so I'm very excited about that. And this is probably in my top 20 most favorite books of all time. Now, do I know the ranking of it? No, because I just like to say top 20, and then, you know, books move up and down depending on my mood. It's fine, but it's still in the top 20 of best books I've ever read so far. The main character, Ranty, is stuck in a religious society where, I mean, women are seen as just baby makers, and supposedly they hold a lot of magic, and that magic is very dangerous, and so they have what they call the Grace Year, where first they're betrothed to men of all ages because they're chosen by, you know, the guy that wants to marry these girls, and then they, I guess they get married in a sense that, you know, in public they exchange flowers. They go off for a year by themselves, all girls, to an unknown location and just try to survive. And it gets violent. I would say so. It gets a little violent. It's like The Handmaid's Tale mixed with Lord of the Flies, and I can see that, and I can definitely see that happening in a very religious, anti-woman society where the women hate themselves. They hate themselves because they're taught to hate themselves, and the men are the best and the greatest, and everyone, you know, too bad you're born a woman because being a man is the best thing ever. How many times have we read about that or heard examples of that in our everyday life? Of course it happens. It doesn't happen as much. It's still a thing in some countries, but we're getting better. However, we still have issues with this, and we still have sexism. So what I thought interesting, I'm going to say interesting, was Kim's story of how she was inspired to write this book. Now, I'm going to paraphrase. I'm not going to like read the author's note because it's a couple of pages, and you can see for yourself if this makes sense, or if that, you know, if this kind of works with you or not. And I'll leave my thoughts until the end of the thing, because I was like, okay, gotta be honest. So she was in a, what do you call that? Train station, right? And she saw this young teenage girl, like between the ages of 14 to 16, with her family. Says that she can tell that the parents are kind of like annoyed with her being so bubbly and excited by the look on their faces. And then a man walks by and he supposedly looks at her suggestively, and then a woman walks by and supposedly looks at her with jealousy. Author is seeing the parents annoyed at her supposedly because she's so happy and bubbly, and they're seeing her off to what what is assumed to be she's going back to boarding school. Then you have the man walk by, sees her kind of like, I guess, lusting after her. I don't think she used that word, but it's basically that. And then the older woman walks by and she glares at her because she's bubbly and youthful. And then, so the author walks away, and then she sits down and she sobs on behalf of this teenage girl. And that's how the story, is inspired, because she's upset that society is still at this point with parents, but also random strangers interacting with this young adult in such a way. And okay, I mean, I'm glad that she was inspired to write this book, because the book is fantastic. I can't find anything wrong with it. However, that is, I'm gonna be honest, interesting, because that's a lot of assumption, especially from the strangers walking by. And it's interesting that she is, so did it actually happen? I don't know. I don't think we'll ever know. But that's what she has perceived the parents doing and the two strangers doing to this teenager that is happy-go-lucky. She's excited to get on the train, or maybe Greyhound, or Amtrak, whatever it is, to go back to boarding school. She's living her life. She's having a fantastic time, and she's supposedly oblivious to everything going on, and that, like, her parents secretly kind of detest her. That's kind of what I got from the author's note. I don't know. That was, I don't know about that one. I'm gonna be completely honest. So this comes to the thing of, are you perceiving stuff how you want to perceive stuff, because you already have, some biases about how things work in society, or did it actually happen? I don't think we'll ever know. But I don't, I mean, there are parents that do, unfortunately, that do think that their children, teenagers, are annoying, and there are parents that don't like their kids. Maybe that's why she's going to boarding school. But do we know that? But see, the thing is, we don't know that she's even going to boarding school. So I don't. So see, this is like, it's that I brought this up because it really made me think, and I love thinking, right? That's a stupid comment, but I like thinking about this stuff. From that interaction, we don't even know about, I would love to have like a sit down interview and like really get in there with Kim. I don't know why, but like really, was that what, or did you have like an interaction, or multiple interactions the past week, month, maybe even years, what are we doing? And you saw this and you see what you want to see. But that's not what this book is. She perceived this happening, when she was in a train station just walking by. But this is a rigid religious society. There's no gray area. This is black and white. You're you're a woman and you're bad, and you're a man and you're good. You know, there's no in between. However, the main character is a little gray in the middle. She's like, I'm not, when she gets to the gray sphere, you know, with all these women that are, they're brainwashed into thinking that they are trash, basically, and all they have in store for them is baby making and pleasing their husband. That's all they do, because they can't even like run their household. The man runs the household, from what I gathered. Like, they might, you know, pick the cutlery, but that doesn't mean that they run the household, right? And they're shut off from the world. And I like, you know, this is like, it's horror, like psychological thriller, speculative fiction type of thing, because this is a whole different new world, and there's only other, like, there's like outsiders that are like bastard children, people that are exiled from this society. So you only have two societies that are closely knit but separated in a way, because the people on the outside are sinners. Where have we heard that before? And that's all we get. But we also, like, there are hints that it's kind of like Viking-esque, or maybe it's in Finland, maybe it's in Norway. We don't really know. And it's not Christianity, but it's like Christianity. So I like when writers twist already established religions and already established societies. You can't tell that they're Norse, really, other than, like, a lot of them are blue-eyed and blonde. But then they'll hint at, oh, you know, there's this old song, specific Norse-like words that I don't think they're Norse, but maybe they're, or Norse-themed. What are we talking about? They look like it in a way. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like, maybe it's inspired by the Vikings, but not actually Norse. See, this is where we get, where I go down the rabbit hole, and I don't totally make sense. But I like trying to pinpoint or figure out where this society is. Like, is it totally made up, and you're kind of just picking at societies that you like or you think will work? Or is it speculative and in, let's just say, Norway, but it's like a different world? Speculative. Duh. There's always the, oh, there's a better place way out there. We can go to it. Let's run away together. I like those moments. Is that a trope? Yes. Do I love it? Also, yes. Because I'm really interested in the society that's so messed up that the men run it, and then the women are just like, yep, great. But that's what happens with religious societies. A lot of religious societies. It definitely is Lord of the Flies meets Handmaid's Tale, because the women are very horrible to each other. We always expect the men being horrible to the women. Yeah, okay. But it's true, and people don't like to mention it, that women can be just as horrible, if not more horrible, to women than the male counterparts. Why? That's an interesting conversation. And I think Kim goes over that, and I think that's because she's inspired by the parents supposedly being extremely annoyed with their daughter, and then the older woman glaring at her because she's young and vibrant, whatever, And now why do parents hate their daughters, and why do women hate younger women, or just women, or just each other in general? Brainwashed. I would say that the theme is religious zealotry. And also wanting to survive, that's a big thing. Fear, shame, guilt, all of them. And because it's never just one thing. It's always many, many things. But there is some hope at the end, you know. And I would love, you know, see, that's the thing. This book is so perfect. Do I want another book? Maybe. But in the sense that what happens with the main character and her husband, and how does she work out her still lingering feelings for her lover that she met during the grace year, and how does that all change the rigid religious society of, I don't even know, do they have a name? If they do have a name, I don't remember it. Hi, memory problems, great. Of that society, I'm just gonna say that society. A lot of violence, there's a lot of torture and death, there's a lot of sad themes in this novel. However, books are in general, but we're gonna be, you know, I'm booktuber, hi, we're gonna talk about books in general. Literature is a fantastic dichotomy of safety and discomfort, and this leans towards discomfort in the sense that very difficult topics are raised and written about. Are they romanticized? Of course not. If they were, I wouldn't be giving, you know, the book 5 stars with a glowing review. I think it's a very important read if we're talking specifically about religion brainwashing everyone, but especially women, and pitting them against each other, and how does that work itself out if it works itself out. That's a very interesting, very thoughtful question that Kim writes about in this book, and more people need to read about it. And it's a very angry book, it's a very violent book, but we need violent, angry books. Also, not dissing Kim, but if, you know, you want to come for me at the comments, but you would know if I'm coming for someone. Just because I talk about something doesn't mean I'm coming for someone. Just saying. Thank you so much for watching my Ranty review. Do you even call it a review? I don't know. Okay. Ranty review. We're just gonna go with that one. If you like what you just saw, please comment, like, and subscribe. I would like to hear your thoughts about everything that I talked about, but also specifically her inspiration for this book. I think that would be a very eye-opening and intriguing conversation to have with anyone that wanted it, but that read the book. It really does connect. And if you didn't read the book, but you somehow, like, read her inspiration, I mean, we could talk about it, but I don't think it would be in-depth, you know? I like in-depth conversations. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great reading day. Bye.